Hi, my name is Piera Onacko and I play the piano. So I started music quite young. First I played the piano, started the piano, which obviously is my main instrument now. I think I was about 7, and then I moved on to the trumpet. So I started playing that when I was about 10, I think. So it was kind of the influence of my parents. My parents love music, and my dad plays guitar. So they were always really keen for me to start and never looked back, really. Yeah, I mainly did my ensemble stuff with the trumpet, because that's generally more of an ensemble instrument. But for the piano, it was actually a little bit later that I started to kind of look into jazz and how I could play that in a jazz setting, you know, playing with bass and drums and doing the whole trio thing. That was actually a lot later, so I was used to the whole school, playing in big bands, playing in whatever, orchestras, and then probably when I hit sort of 16 or something, I then thought, oh, I can play the piano with a small group, and that's where I went from there, really. I think it was the choices that I was given. It was kind of, you could go down that traditional route with the piano, or you could go down the jazz route. I know that's pretty black and white, but I kind of saw it that way, and I thought, I don't want to necessarily do something really strict, because I liked kind of composing bits and bobs and whatever, and I was like, oh, maybe jazz is more of a route with that. So I spoke to my teacher, who had a bit of experience in that area, and then I found out that you could do a course in jazz, and I was like, great, so may as well just follow that through, and that's what happened, really. Yeah, I think I really like the idea of having bits that are properly composed and sort of stay the same and are written, but then I really like stuff that's a bit freer, and I like to sort of combine the two and have really open bits combined with heavily arranged bits. So I've always found that, because you get a really nice contrast between the sort of the free and the doing, you know, going off on a tangent and then bringing it back with something quite sort of nailed down and sort of, if you see what I mean. Yeah. So that's kind of what I like to do. Yeah, I really like, I love Bill Frisell. He's one of my, and I love John Zorn as well, so a big fan of kind of crunchy / atmospheric and a bit kind of grungy guitar, and going towards that rocky thing, really into that. So when I first heard John Zorn and I heard Bill Frisell on Naked City, I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing, and I went down a bit of a rabbit hole with that. And I love Jim Black as well, and sort of all of his different projects really inspire me, because it's sort of a lot of small groups, mainly trio and stuff, but really impactful, high energy, sort of heavy. I'd probably start someone off on something just really classic, like Bill Evans or Keith Jarrett or something, like really kind of perfect trio, just straight up, you know, no rubbish. This is jazz, and this is how jazz is meant to sound. Because I think yeah, someone like Bill Evans just defines the music so beautifully that you can just take so much from it, and so many different aspects of it, like you know, just playing through standards alone, the melody of it is amazing, but then, you know, the way they interact is really interesting, and you can kind of take that and bring that to your own music, I think, really well. There's just so many elements that kind of come together, I think, that, yeah, for someone new listening, you'd be like overwhelmed with all these new ideas, I think. Yeah, sure. So I've had an ongoing trio called Juggernaut, and we sort of started as piano trio, just acoustically, but then we moved into, so I started buying some gear, and I've got a synth now, I've got my pedals and stuff, so I've started trying to going back to the kind of the stuff I was talking about before, doing that kind of heavy, getting a bit of crunch in there, and I think there's no better way to do that than sort of mess about with electronics. So I've got plans for an EP, which hopefully will be sorted out this year. So that's kind of my focus at the moment. I think something that I would have liked to have thought and kept in my mind the whole time I was doing it was not to be intimidated by the fact that there aren't many women, and to not let that make you lose your confidence or give you any reason not to be, to do as well as men. I don't mean that in like a divide thing, but simply because there aren't as many women doing it, it can feel a bit scary because you feel quite alone in it. And but I think the best thing is there's no stigma attached to it. It's just a simple fact that there aren't as many women doing it. So don't be scared by that or intimidated, and just go for it. And people will, if you're good, people will respect you. That's what I think is a key bit of advice, really.